What up, though? I'm your host, Young Tone the Man, and it's the BLACKSHOT podcast. Let's get to it.
Keep it 100 and kill yourself. Don't bullshit with it.
PJ the Ghost, Venny the Vegan. Welcome to the BLACKSHOT podcast. What up, though? First topic for today is going to be what attracts people to a given genre of music.
Alright, so I feel like, just to start off some topics, I feel like, hip hop. I feel like a lot of people listen for bass. I'm not too knowledgeable as to where that came from. I listen to a little bit of hip hop here and there, but that's one thing I notice. So, what about just heavy hitting bass always gets people? And it's not just hip hop. Also, it's like dance music as well.
I think that also ties into the, if you really get into it and you really think about it, then what gets people to, really, say enjoy a certain type of music is how it speaks to you, if that makes sense. So, if you think about it like this, right? They always say that a baby will always be comfortable near their mother. Why is that? Because exactly it's the beat of the motion. So therefore, it's that same beat that will get you to move a certain way, makes you think about dancing.
Okay. Little history lesson. Hip hop is derived from the oral tradition of storytelling from an African root. Egyptians were known as some of the greatest historians in the world, and in most parts of Africa, stories are not written, though they are told orally. We only write them down so that when people die, we can still keep up with those stories. So, with that in mind, hip hop has a heavy bass influence because that's the thing that keeps the rhythm. It helps you keep time. The boom bap, if you will. That boom makes you move. It's that jolt of energy. It's what allows for it's the stomp to the clap, right? Anybody can clap, but when you have the stomp and the clap, it creates this sense of energy generation that forces you to get out your seat. It's what you nod your head to. It's what you tap your foot to. And other genres, like, for example, rock. Rock and roll is not rock and roll without a guitar.
That is true.
Predominantly an electric guitar. Just like country music is not country music without an acoustic guitar. You don't have metal without a lot of without drums and an electric guitar, right? Ballet is generally done in classical music, and classical music doesn't happen traditionally or normally without an array of brass or wind instruments. So hip hop has a bit of a bass requirement for that jolt of energy that gets you and keeps you moving, and then that movement just becomes rhythmic with the melodies or the cadence of the MC.
I could see that just because, going back to what you said about classical, I played classical music for a while when I was back in high school, and even that, and to kind of go along with what you were saying about how it speaks to you, definitely there are phrases within classical music that like to convey a certain emotion or a certain action. I can see how that can correlate into bass and hi-hats and stuff in hip-hop. So.
Now, there's also, when it ties into, the music and how it speaks to you, there's different quotes that you'll actually hear in a lot of songs. And generally in hip-hop,
in a lyrical form, what you hear in the lyrics is what
that's the thing, is that a quote can be from a melodic signature, or it could be from as simple as, he said something or she said something that this other person said. So that also plays a really big portion into it, and I think that that's one of the things that really draws people to certain types of music, because once you hear something familiar, then it makes you want to continue to listen to that, because now you're already comfortable with what they said, and now you grow more comfortable with the beat
Yeah, I could definitely see that in terms of like style too. I mean, if you just randomly hear a song on the radio, right? You'll hear, a certain style. You recognize who it is. Eminem. You listen to Eminem, and you'll definitely hear he always likes fast rap, or particularly faster, and will always rhyme as much as possible. And even jumping into like dance music, you'll hear that certain people and dance music, or even like EDM, will have a certain, like, they'll have certain sounds in their music that will keep, that's like their signature. That's their signature sound.
Now, I mean, I will say I do like to listen to primarily hip hop, and that is primarily because of the lyrics. So I like the lyrical aspect of it. Yes, I do enjoy the beat. Yes, the beat may be nice, but I am more of a person that I like to hear what you're saying. I like to hear the story that you're conveying. I like to hear the story that you're telling. And that also comes from me speaking spoken word poetry for a while.
Gotcha.
So that is a lot of where it came from. Yeah, I did poetry for a little while. I used to do slam, like poetry slams all the time. I would go to bars, and everybody would have a spoken word that they have. It'd be like an open mic.
I can see how that definitely correlates, because just listening to the little bit of hip hop that I do here and there, the lyrics are not necessarily poems, but like you said, they convey a story. They convey something about the person who is singing those lyrics. They mean something to that person. They could potentially mean something to you as well, or you could take a new meaning out of it, and that's.
Now, I will say, like, so nowadays you're not really gonna hear a lot of rap or hip hop that has an actual, like, full-blown meaning to it.
Yeah, that's true. A lot of it, I think, is more of just like, having catchy beats, having catchy, like,
bass lines.
Well, bass lines, yeah, but like, I'm pretty sure. I think. What's it called? I think Snoop Dogg actually talked about this once on like an interview that he did on a live show. But the triplet, the da 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 da, or something along those lines, or 16th notes like da 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 da.
A cadence,
or,
a catchy cadence, like Barack Obama giving a speech.
Yeah, there's a certain way that it's phrased out.
Yeah.
In music terms, is what people like now. I would say for hip hop, there aren't very many people who would tell a full-blown story. At least I would think, from what I've heard.
I will say this: that's something that I do really want to bring back, is like the whole storytelling back into hip hop, because it comes from the roots, and it comes from the lyrical side of it. You have to actually think about what you're saying when you're making these things.
That's true. But then, well, here's something I just thought of, right? So, like, when it comes to, other music, like, classical, I would say, I have a little bit, on the question that I'm just about to, like, throw out there, but also, like, same thing with, like, EDM and stuff like that. Okay, so if in hip-hop and stuff they tell a story, what about other genres? So what I was meaning about, like, classical, I know in classical, usually most of the time when a composer is writing a piece, they'll write it more or less for, a certain feeling or a certain, experience they had, or something that they envision, like just an image you have in your mind, and you're conveying that through classical music. Yeah. So what about other topics, and how do they do that? Because I can easily just say, EDM or dance or anything like that. Pop is just, they just want to get out there and just make some music.
I will say that nowadays hip hop does still have the storytelling function. it just sounds different. The cadence is different. Just like with poetry, you have your different styles of poetry, right? You have your four, you have your four, your two, your four, your two. You have your 3 and 1s. You have your 4, your 8, your 4 again. I forget the actual terminology for it. But we didn't lose the storytelling in hip hop. I just think the common trend on how they tell that story has changed. Just the formatting has changed. Though the actual art of storytelling is still the same. You're still saying, well, this happened, and then that happened, and then that happened, and then that happened. And if you purely listen to what they're saying and the order in which they're saying things, they're still telling a story, though it sounds very odd comparatively to, say, a Grandmaster Flash or a Houdini or even an Ice-T. Ice-T, 6 in the morning, police at my door, fresh beauty squeaking across the bathroom floor, right? That puts you in that mindset of you're standing in the bathroom, looking in the mirror at 6 in the morning, and when you got brand new shoes on then ceramic tile floors, they squeak. So we lost that. I'm not gonna say we lost it, but it changed from that direct, blatant storytelling to more of
actions that we do in daily life.
More so of an action. Oh, I met her, then we did this, and then this, and then this, and then this. But it sounds somewhat random because it's not the detailed step-by-step that we were accustomed to in, say, late 80s, early 90s.
I feel like
but
you
then,
guys are more accustomed to that because I'm a little on the younger side.
right, but you can even see that the storytelling aspect in genres like rap. Like Kiss was known for storytelling. Seemed a little odd, but they still told a lot of stories. And so did artists like Bon Jovi, Queen. What's the dude? Ozzy Osbourne.
Yep.
Really good storytelling. Prince. Really good storytelling. Michael Jackson. Remember the Times. You know, Billie Jean. The list goes on and on and on. And so I think we didn't lose it. I just think the way that stories are told in hip hop have changed. Because you can even look at newer things like King Von and literally the song Crazy Stories. Got 3 versions of it. But then when you look at artists like Dax or Tech Nine or Eminem, one of his greatest stories he ever told was Stan.
Yeah.
You know, cleaning out my closet. Superman. I forget the name of the song, but it's him and Rihanna. Watch Me Burn, I think is what it's called.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's literally a story. But then you can also look at other genres like Mozart told stories just without words.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying about the classical. Yeah.
No, I mean, like, you know, with some of my experience that I have with certain types of music, I mean, I only played percussion. So I used to play, I played the marimba, I played the xylophone, but that was more of my area. So there was one thing that one of my instructors said one day that really hit me hard. And it's to make us as just percussion players, because most of the time when you hear percussion, then what you're thinking about is, everything is just hit it hard and keep time. Now, yes, we do keep time, but every single note of a song tells a story. Mm-hmm. Every note of a song tells a story. So you have to go along with the ambiance of what the story of the story that is being told. And that actually helped me out because, seeing the crescendos, stuff like that, it was, okay, now I know what it's trying to convey, so I can play it a certain way. Maybe I hit the drum just a little bit harder, maybe I tilt my step just a little bit more to get more of a pop.
Okay.
to convey that intensity in a moment and or the lack of intensity in a moment.
So then, taking all of what we've been talking about, someone, and I'm genuinely asking, like, as someone who listens to more of like dance and EDM, like I've been mentioning for a little bit, but how, I mean, not to say they probably don't tell a story, not to say they probably don't have these type of things in their music, but for me, I listen to it and it's more like feel-good music, or sometimes it's more of just, I want to listen to more of a sadder song because that's just how I feel. How does storytelling go within that type of genre?
Well, there's a group called Watch the Duck, and they got a song called Popping Off. And the guy says, hey, something pissed me off. I don't really want to talk about it. I don't really want to get into it. Then it started popping off. And it's an EDM based house music sort of song, right? A lot of synthesized sounds. But if you watch the video, it's a bunch of people dancing at a house party. But EDM is more of the expression of a feeling, vice the vocalization of a feeling, whereas hip hop is more the vocalization of a feeling. Classic music is more the expression of a feeling, along with like orchestra would be more of the expression of a feeling.
So then you're mainly just saying like, okay, so the EDM is almost like classical. It's more of conveying through just throughout the sounds and beat that it has. It's conveying a certain emotion.
Well, I mean, it's not just EDM. I mean, personally, I've listened to Polyphia. So if you ever heard of Polyphia, they don't say anything in their songs. All it is they have a rock kind of sound,
Okay, I know.
but they never say anything. So you're getting the emotion, you may be getting the bounce that they have, or you may be getting the relaxation that they're trying to convey just by how they're playing it. So that ties into the expression kind of thing.
Okay, gotcha.
So it's still storytelling. It's still telling you, oh, this is how I feel, but it's not saying how they feel.
Okay. Got it. So let's see if we can answer the question. The question is, what attracts people to a given genre of music? And correct me if I'm wrong, I would say to kind of summarize this. What draws people to a given genre of music would be your mood or your emotional state. And, you pick the songs that kind of facilitate what you want to express in the moment.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that. I mean, because like I just said earlier, when I listen to some dance music sometimes, it can either be super, poppy, something that's meant to get me in a happier mood, or more of a drive for whatever I want to do. Or, if I'm feeling just a little sad and I'm just kind of wanting to relax, I listen to chill music. Or something that's a little more down, just so I can, feel with that, I guess. Just be with those kind of vibes.
Definitely, I would have to agree with that. It's how you feel at the current moment. I know that I'm extremely eclectic, so when it does come down to music, then I pick all different types, especially when I'm even if I'm trying to go to sleep, I may be listening to jazz and stuff like that. So it is definitely what you feel in the moment.
Okay. Got that. So, all right, topic number 2. How has COVID affected your living style?
Oh man. So,
COVID.
with me being a spoken word poet, and going out to the bars, going out to hell, even sometimes just normal little areas. I used to be able to do that stuff all the time. But the problem is that due to COVID, I haven't really been able to do that. I haven't been able to enjoy the general output that I was able to. And it was kind of frustrating.
Yeah, man, I definitely saw a change in how I had to go about my day. because I couldn't go to the normal gathering places and do most of the group activities I enjoy doing. A, as a social person, B, as a musician, C, as an athlete. Right, I couldn't gather in groups, so my normal stress relievers. Hey, let's get people together. Let's create music. Let's go do shows. Let's step on a lacrosse field. Let's step on a basketball court. Let's hit the beach with a frisbee, et cetera, et cetera. Those things were then now unavailable due to gathering restrictions and whatnot. So that played a major role, especially in social events like, hey, let's hit a movie. Movies theaters were shut down, things like that. It made it very awkward.
I totally agree with that. I mean, especially like the beginning of 2020 disaster, freaking. But I mean, right when
Disaster.
when everything started popping off, I just feel like it was shut down this, shut down that, stay at home. I mean, and it really was. They did put that out in the news everywhere. Just stay at home, don't do anything, stay inside, blah blah blah. As things started to open up more, it definitely was a little bit more restricted. I would say not only just having to wear the mask, but also as to really what you could go do. Not necessarily with, being able to go out and have fun, but I would say like, it kind of limited you to what you could do for that day.
Well, I mean, and on top of that, there was a lot of, the mask mandates and stuff like that. That
Masks.
really did.
Okay, it's all. He was smoking cigars. Okay, they like to practice.
Now back to your regularly scheduled program.
Pardon the interruption. The facilities have the standards that they have, and we're gonna obey the facility standards.
And that's another thing. I mean, that could lead us right into like the next, like what we're about to talk, like in this own topic. A whole bunch of places changed how they did business. I mean, the biggest one being, if you're not wearing a mask, we're not going to give you any of our businesses in whatever our services that we have. And then going back to the part where it's restricting you, like going to gatherings, they definitely restricted that at first to no larger than X amount of size. That kind of even took you away from, if you were following it properly, like, even hanging out with family. Some people's families, like mine, are huge. Both sides of the family, mom and dad, they have just big families, and we would get together all the time. If we're following rules, it kind of didn't really do that. I would definitely say it gave a lot of restriction. Definitely didn't allow you to go do everything you wanted to do like you did normally before it started.
Well, I mean, also think about how it hit, the sports industry.
Yeah, sports too. I mean, really sports. Yeah.
I mean, people would go out, and they would want to go and watch the games. Everybody wants to go out and watch a game. Everybody wants to go out and see this type of football game. Everybody wants to go and see these people play and everything else. But due to COVID, they had to start doing everything either through video or you just had to watch it on TV. Now, is that exactly the most, how do I say it, the most accurate way to watch a game? No. But at the same time, due to the restrictions and due to how volatile the actual sickness was, then for the time, yeah, I think that it really did put a hindrance on the enjoyment that people would generally have.
Yeah, it definitely posed a lot of hurdles for people to adapt and overcome in a various amount of variety, in a various amount of settings and contexts. It made a lot of things awkward, man, and people had to literally adjust on the fly. It slowed down transportation. It slowed down services.
Yeah, even as things as simple. Sorry, I mean, even things as simple as transportation, like even Uber. Uber had like mask mandates.
I mean, but Uber also popped off because Uber Eats. Man,
Oh
Uber
yeah,
Eats.
places like that. I mean, even changes in like society, like like in dynamic changes. Like a lot of people started, doing online stuff. Online ordering for Amazon, online school. Like I wasn't part of that. I graduated before, way before COVID, but I couldn't imagine being sitting in front of a computer all day, and, learning all my topics from a teacher who's on the other end of the camera. Them trying to yell at their kids and they're already home. You know what I mean? But even things like that's crazy. Like, we all went completely digital, which was cool.
I will say that it did affect, like, so school-wise, it affected so many. Because when it came down to it, the kids weren't physically there.
No.
Now, I know there's only so much that you can portray through a video screen. There's only so much that you can portray. There's only so much that you can do because now you're limited to what is on the screen.
So then, on the same idea, like, how do you think, like, in terms of like actual knowledge learned, how do you think kids actually like retain knowledge? Because I can tell you that for me, I'm a person who learns with visual and actually doing whatever it is to do.
Yeah, you're a demonstrative learner, and it took a lot of the practical application, a lot of the demonstrative portions out of it. But I will say, we all had to, as they say in the Army, adjust fire and roll with it. And because of that, it made people face a lot of fears. The fear of standing in front of a class and speaking, because you always had to stand in front of the class and speak. You just had X number of screens watching, or X number of viewers. It made the social media platforms expound on their capabilities in a multitude of ways. How many people can you communicate with via live stream? How many people can you communicate via podcast like this one here? It gave way to expounding in those areas, along with how do we socialize. A lot of analytics went into how we socialize. So if you were a sociologist, this was a perfect time, or is a perfect time for you to expound some of your theories and your concepts and create new
Avenues.
No, I was going to say new hypotheses on the interactions of people in groups, because you're limiting groups. You went from X number of people in an arena to, you have to participate in this ambiance or this atmosphere via video. So where sports were essential people only. So you had arenas. You had like sports arenas where they normally hold 10, 15, 20,000 people. And at max, you had 1,000 people in this stadium. And, so you kept at home the person serving hot dogs and nachos, the water boys, etc., right? But you had just the players, just the medical staff, things like that. They did the NBA finals in a bubble. They did the college basketball finals in a bubble. And that's unimaginable, 5 years ago. But 2 years ago, that was the reality. That was the new normal for a while. And it showed us that we could adapt to an ever-changing society. And we did it, I wouldn't say seamlessly, because the growing pains still exist, but we did it, and we made do. And the tech industry has expounded tremendously with its methodology, with its avenues for communication and linking people. And it showed you how small the world really was, because what you would think was only a problem in small town wherever you're from, hey, this is only a problem in Anderson, South Carolina. No, this is a problem in Anderson. This is a problem in Greenville. This is a problem in Clemson. This is a problem in in Biloxi, Mississippi. There's a problem in Lake Charles. There's a problem in Tucson, Arizona. There's a problem in Houston, Austin, Dallas, LA, San Diego, Detroit, wherever. The same problem exists. It's just now you know about it and you have to read and see it in real time. Learning, getting your news digitally became the new normal. Newspapers, yeah, kind of a thing of the past for a bit. Everything went to live stream. You may have never watched MSNBC, but then you went from never watching it to watching it every day, all day.
Yeah, and honestly, I feel like not trying to get to the point of summarizing it, but I mean, just think about it. Like you were saying, the tech industry boomed. Anything social media was now becoming a usable platform for doing anything because of how restrictive it was at first. Of course, things are now open for the most part, and you just have to wear a mask. But it really made everybody think about how things changed. How really now being together with people, how that was kind of an important thing, and now that at the time we weren't able to do it as often, and just seeing all of that changes.
Well, I mean, but also think about how everything changed. So, as in, once they came out with the vaccine. Because once they came out with the vaccine,
Then it was just open doors.
then everybody was like, all right, well, you're vaccinated. Okay, let me see your vaccination card.
That was
And then they had the issues with the vaccination cards where people were trying to falsify vaccination cards.
Yeah.
And when it came down to it, then they were trying to do their best to open everything back up. They were trying to get everybody back to their normal way of living. But due to the fact that the volatility of COVID does change, then that is when you really saw how many people truly reacted to initially getting put on the, hey, you have to stay at home.
The quarantine.
The quarantine.
The quarantine is real.
Man, it was quarantine this, quarantine that. There was an entire song that was made about quarantine. There's multiple songs made about quarantine.
Whole albums.
I mean, Tyga did a song that was originally off of TikTok. That was bored in the house.
In the house bored. I'm bored in the house and I'm in the house bored. Bored in the house and I'm in the house bored. Bored in the house and I'm in the house bored.
And he did that entire song, and if you actually listen to the lyrics of it, it was hilarious because he was literally just talking about being in the house, and he was like, oh man, let me go and get that Uber. Let me go and get that Uber Eats again. Let me go and get that
DoorDash.
Yeah, that DoorDash and everything else. He's sitting here playing PlayStation. He's been playing Call of Duty all day, and he wants to get some more food, so he's just gonna DoorDash.
Yep.
That is
There's no running to the grocery store. There's deliveries, and that gave people the time to sit still. We all watched a myriad of tragedies happen with the COVID death tolls, with all the legal and personnel issues we had. It forced everybody to sit still and watch what's actually happening in the world. We all sat and watched George Floyd because we were all bored in the house and we were in the house bored. And your entertainment was what other people are doing in their houses. Who's sneaking out of their house? Yes. And it made us realize how different we are not as people, and how small the world actually is, because the same things you were thinking of doing in your house, somebody across the country or across the world was in their house thinking of doing the same thing. It brought a lot of families together, and it forced people to talk about a lot of the issues that they hadn't talked about before because they were forced to be in the house. So if you were having marital issues in house board, if you were having marital issues, you now had to face your marital issues. Why? You're not going anywhere. You're not going to work. Yep. You're not going to work. So what are you doing? Hey, you're talking to your spouse about whenever you do this, the clipping your toenails in the bed, leaving your shoes by the door, the you made me feel this way or you made me feel that way.
Hold on. Can we
toenails.
Excuse me. I'm just throwing this out there, man. If I'm over here trying to knock out and I feel a toenail hit me in the freaking face, I promise you, I'm coming on home swinging. I'm throwing hands. You getting kicked off the bed. You know what that's it? Where's the dog at?
Shout out to all the people with fur babies. Hashtag fur baby life.
You know what? Where the dog at? What the dog doing?
Me and Spike finna go kick it in the garage now. Because you want to clip your toenails in the bed. No, but what I mean...
You got a mound of
Yeah,
toenails.
I mean, like,
the little things.
you were talking about things that you usually don't ever really talk about. You were doing things that you don't really find yourself doing just because you were in a house board. So,
Yeah.
I will say, just to kind of bop off of the clipping the toenails in the bed. I'm sorry, I kind of ran with that one, but
Clip.
But like, if you realize, that is also where you actually realize about your significant other, their little
Nuanced habits.
yeah, their little nuanced habits. And I mean, you really catch it too. Because that is when you saw, oh yeah, I see that this person hasn't showered in 2 freaking days. What the hell are you doing? You used to take a shower every day. What happened?
They're not doing anything. Because they're bored in the house and they're in the house bored.
But that doesn't matter. If you over here walking around and your stuff smell like fish sticks, I'm sorry, but you're going to have to change your underwear.
Smell like mothballs. We got a problem.
we got some
I hope this isn't a big tangent, but like, okay, so going back to when we were all like quarantined in our houses, couldn't do anything, really couldn't go to the store. How the hell did toilet paper freaking sell out?
You know, okay, so the toilet paper thing, I never really understood that. I'm not running to the store to buy toilet paper.
Now, I mean, I will say this. There was one time I was hanging out with some friends, and this kid, he was really cool with his mom. And this is what she does. So I guess she got an attitude, and she says, and I quote, "Well, you know what? You don't have to leave the house." And he goes, "Okay." And he runs to the bathroom, grabs all the toilet paper out the bathroom, and goes, "Well, I hope you better figure out how you gonna deal with yourself then."
Hashtag washcloth. No, but honestly, I never understood the toilet paper thing because it's a lot more useful and a lot more functional, right? For long term, if you just use a washcloth.
Actually, no, now that you say that, I can imagine as to some people why they did it because it was long term. Everybody expected to be in their houses for long term, so I can see that. But I mean, still, it's sold out. And
Excuse my good man. Did you say a washcloth?
Yes, I did. Think about it here. Follow me here.
Look, I gotta realize something. I'm sorry, but look, if I'm taking my, I just get done having Taco Bell, and you got the Taco Bell noodles after
bring it
that.
out in the sink, wash it out, do it again.
No, but honestly, as a father, you did that with your kids, man. You took that towel, you cleaned up your kid, and you washed that towel in the sink. And then somebody later washed their hands in that sink, brushed their teeth in that sink, washed their face in that sink, shaved in that sink, picked their nose in that sink. So the amount of quote unquote ridiculousness that happened in that sink had already happened before. So now it's just, instead of it's your toddler's butt, it's your butt. We've all had accidents in the bathroom. And what did you do? Sink, shower, done. So I get it if you're running out and you're stocking up on bathing soap, laundry soap. You're getting, quick eat things like your instant oatmeals, your ramen noodles, your hot pockets, your instant grits, your microwavables, your 2 to 3 minutes, and I'm eating food things. That makes sense. Toilet paper blew my mind. I stood on my lanai on the 14th floor of my apartment in Hawaii, looking at all these people scramble to Walmart and the grocery store to buy consumables without thinking the long-term effect of all these consumables. As a logistician by trade, if you hoard a thing, you're gonna shorten the supply. You're gonna maximize the demand too high, and you're gonna shorten the supply because everybody bought all the toilet paper. Then we were backed up on toilet paper. Everybody bought all the hand sanitizer. We were backed up on hand sanitizer. Everybody bought all the N95 masks, and for about a month, in almost every major city, you couldn't find an N95 mask on a store shelf. Why? Because everybody and their mom eBayed or Amazon or ran to the Walmart or the CVS or the Walgreens and bought all the N95s and the toilet paper and the hand sanitizer and the paper towel. Hashtag brownies.
Now, I will say, man, like that had a really big effect on, honestly, everybody. Because when it came down to it, man, you couldn't get just your essentials. And with everybody trying to hoard everything, even for the people that had to continue traveling throughout that time frame, I know that it had to be hard on them. Because, oh yeah, you know, this person has to get on a plane because it's a part of their job and they have to go all the way to another state. But now they're sitting here without any, like, they're sitting there without a mask, or now they have to, you know, use a dollar store mask that was probably made by Shaquilla in the back, and it's like halfway done.
Shout out to the sweatshops.
Shout out to the sweatshops.
Yeah, going along with that same tangent though, I mean, like we were saying earlier, the tech industry, I mean, and it's still kind of happening now for various different reasons.
But you can't make an electronic mask.
No, I'm talking about electronic masks. But in terms of like computer parts, I don't know if you guys are like big super tech nerds, but I kind of am one. And trying to build a computer or get some high-end products that everybody was after at those times was hard to come by, just because everybody was buying them. And then not only that, but it made it worse because I don't know if anyone heard about the silicon shortage. The silicon shortage is actually due to everything from the memory in your phone to you know, the RAM inside your computer to the CPUs in the computer as well. Anything that dealt with a small microchip that was silicon based.
Yes, that was very true. There's actually still a shortage on a lot of electronic parts due to COVID, man. Cell phones, the newer cell phones, the production of those or the output of those got pushed back. Car parts, Toyota had a big issue with car parts. So did Mitsubishi, I believe, was another one that had an issue with car parts.
Ford had issues with car parts because they were having to do callbacks. And when they
recalls,
yeah, they had to do their freaking callback, their recalls and everything else, and it really shut everything down, and it backed everything so far up that now they're still having to deal with just the repercussions of having to do a recall.
Yeah, having to pump out all of that stuff, and then not only that, but having a shortage of it, which didn't make it better. So.
Yeah, man. So we can see the major effects on lifestyles across the world, and how we changed how we do business, both as people and as professionals. And so it made life extremely difficult in a myriad of ways. And I'm sure we all can agree the new normal came with a lot of growing pains that we're all still feeling. Hashtag stretch game. Gotta stretch, gotta feel good. And we adjusted fire and we rolled with it, and here we are. All right, so that brings us to our next topic and the final topic for this episode. What is your favorite style of socks and why?
Hey man, It's cold weather, them socks be coming in clutch.
Favorite type of sock? Honestly, I like it. Just I generally use any sock that it's kind of thick and ankle cut. Really, because I don't want to show anything, but I want it soft because I just like having a better feel of
Soft. Okay. You like the thick ankle cuts. Most of my life I was an ankle sock guy. But as I've gotten older and wearing tube socks pretty much every day, I've gotten into tube socks. Like I can get up and put on tube socks, and I'm fine most of the time because that's generally what I wear on a daily basis. I'll go to ankle socks doing different things. I'm putting on a different outfit. You style your dress socks with your dress clothes. But on a regular day, like the standard, I walk into pretty much any shoe store or Foot Locker or Walmart or Ross, and hey man, just give me the black Nike socks with the white signs on them, in a tube sock setting, and they just work.
No, I will have to agree with that. I am more of like a tube sock kind of guy. But at the same time, I know that I did enjoy wearing ankle socks for a while. Like when I would like go and run, I like to wear ankle socks. But if I was playing football or if I was playing basketball, I did like to wear like tube socks. So kind of a little bit in between, but at the same time, I'm also a very warm-bodied person, so I can't wear socks that are like really thick. I'm not gonna lie to you, I can't wear socks that are really thick because my feet sweat.
Okay, so if you're not really into the thick socks, and I didn't play sports much, but I would like to assume that if you guys wear the tube socks during like sports and stuff, do you guys like the socks that are more tight and give more of the compression on your legs up to your calf or whatever that would give you, I guess, more support while like you're running and using your legs? It's like more compression stuff, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so like compressions, I really do. Like I am a big advocate for compressions, especially due to the fact that they really do help with circulation and everything else that goes on to extremities. And I'm completely about it. So when it did come down to the tube socks and everything else, then that really did help out. That helped out a lot, and it wasn't thick enough to where I was having to worry about, my feet sweating for an extended amount of time frame, and then all of a sudden, I take off my shoes and it's like, oh snap, there's a toxic gas, somebody's trying to kill us.
I mean, I know that like when I first started getting into running a lot, I did wear socks that were more compression fit, that went a little bit past my calf, because when I started running, my calves actually used to like, what is it called?
Chafe.
Not chafe. Frick, what is it called?
And next on the English language.
they used to tense up like super bad, and it would hurt a lot. So
Charlie horse.
almost, but it would just get
Cramp.
to a point. Cramp. There you go. I couldn't think of the word. But anyways,
So you can't think of the word cramp now.
so I mean, it would cramp up for me, and it would hurt. And I mean, while I did like try other ways to remedy that before I ever get into compression stuff, I know that long compression socks when I was running way back then when I first started, it definitely felt a lot better. So I was just wanting to see the correlation that wearing those tube socks, getting the compression stuff is better for sports.
In my experience, I highly recommend compression socks for sports. Pretty much any sport that requires you to wear socks. I wouldn't recommend compression socks for if you're like track, water polo, swimming, surfing, beach volleyball. If you're a track and field runner, I don't recommend you wearing socks. That's just me. As a lacrosse player, I wear socks and I wear tube socks. Because it's fashion, because it blends with your uniform, it gives you that compression, I'm a defenseman, by the way. So, and then it also gives you a fashion sense. You can show off your love for the sport. You know, your representation for your team, your own personal sense of style, your team number. Like when I played lacrosse in Guam for the Guam Black Tips. Shout out to the Guam Black Tips. Those are my guys out there. I wore red socks with white numbers, and I'm number 19. So of course my socks had 19 on the back. It helped, man. It gave me a little more support, a little more stress relief. Helped kept me a little warmer. Helped kept the blood flowing. Even though it's always hot in Guam, your muscles can't get cold, and they will when you're kind of inactive. And then for people who work out a lot, even if you don't work out in tube socks or compression socks, your rest and recovery days, you're just kind of lounging like the day after, especially like leg day. You know, just kind of lounging in compression socks help with the ankles, the calves. You know.
Leg day is one of those days. That is the day.
Shout out to leg day. Can't forget the leg day. Can't be strong up top and walking around doing the twerk something all day because your legs ain't ready.
Can't have pencil legs, bro. You can't
No,
have the pencil legs.
no pencil legs, no noodle legs.
Now, we can't be walking around looking like a chicken. Like,
So along with, like, I know you're talking about your personalization for socks. I know people out there who just wear like a whole bunch of different colors, who have like a whole bunch of designs. For me, like I don't always go for those flashy type of styles. I'm more of a minimalistic when it comes to style. So I mean, I'm actually like kind of curious to hear about you guys. Like, do you guys wear those kinds of socks that are flashy?
so I always had a very interesting concept about this. Have you ever realized that there was a time frame that you would see primarily women, right? They would wear different colors of socks. And then, but if you were a man and you wore different colors of socks, then you were considered like irresponsible because you couldn't find the correct color. And I was like, what? That doesn't make any sense. If you could sit here and wear a pink and green sock, why can't I? It was bothersome to me for a while.
Well, yeah, the colored socks and the crazy designs were commonly associated with women, men into fashion, men who are a bit more flamboyant, if you will, wore more colorful and more colorful socks. It became popular in common culture with the returning to like the more dressy style, the more casual style of dress, where you had the flooded pant, where you showed off the sock. Right, but that's a regular, that's like an everyday thing now. It's for people to wear the flooded pant or the high cuff with a quote unquote designer sock. And it became part of the look, part of the outfit. You showed off the entire shoe and the sock. So I get into that a little bit. Like I'll put on wild and crazy sort of socks when I go with my fraternity. We have this unspoken sort of competition about who's got the best socks. So we'll all have on the exact same outfit, but those socks though.
Actually, I mean, I can see that for sure, because I remember talking to you a long time ago about, fashion and how it represents not only where you come from, but also what type of person you are too. So, I mean, I can see that, but like I said, I'm a minimalistic guy, but, I mean, and going back to, like, all the different colored socks and all the different designs, I think that also gives you just a little bit of personalization. I mean, also gives you the ability to show that off as well.
I mean, it's also like that little bit of flair, if that makes sense. You know, so like in an outfit, especially like when you're wearing a suit or something like that. You know, have you ever, or I'm not gonna say cross your legs, but you put a foot on your your knee, or like you have your ankle on your knee and you cross your legs like that. Well, or you prop your leg up, and everybody's able to see your socks. And maybe you could be wearing a very minimalist suit where it's like, just basic color. It looks nice, but it's just kind of something for you to be able to
something
just
like
generally be around. But then you have some socks that are like red, bright red. And you're like, whoa, like it's that flare.
I think it's if you were to like two-tone your suit, like say you have like a darker colored, like probably black suit, and you have like probably some deep blue socks that you put on under it, gives it a little bit of like a pop. I can see that.
Yeah, that little pop of color. Women notice, definitely. Give you that pop of color. I've definitely had conversations with women about my socks because they noticed my outfit was very, very simple, very well blended, and then those socks popped out.
Socks with your tie, I'm sorry.
Oh man,
That was a thing for me. I used to match my socks with my tie all the time.
match your socks with your tie and your handkerchief and/or ascot.
Oh yeah, man. Or if you had a vest. Ooh.
You match the socks with the cufflinks and the belt.
10 out of 10.
But you gotta blend it right. As the late John Witherspoon would say, you gotta coordinate with your white knob toe Stacey Adams. You gotta coordinate.
You gotta make it look crisp.
Good times, man. But I think socks is a fun, lighthearted topic, and we all wear them.
If you don't, you know your feet smell like the back of the dumpster. Please wash your feet.
Or you're just those people who wear sandals all the time.
Shout out to Florida, the Sandal State.
Just because you're over here walking around in your little jandals.
Jandals.
Little Jesus sandals. Yo, Jesus walked 12s. Yo, I walked through Jerusalem 11s. Yo, Abu Dhabi Desert 13s. Like,
Alright.
Shout out to the Moses ones.
Oh, fig.
The West Jerusalem elites.
So hold on. Since we're kind of like already on the sandals thing, alright.
yo, walk on water 12s, man. I'm telling you.
Splash, splash.
What makes a sandal, when somebody calls a sandal a mandal, why?
That's assigning gender roles to shoes.
You've never heard that term before?
Mandal?
Mandal?
Negative best.
So like like the slip-on like Nike ones, right?
Yes.
There's no thing that goes in between the part of your toe.
Oh, slides, my guy.
Okay, I've heard of people call slides, but I've also heard some people call them mandals.
Nope, that must be a modern term, circa 2018.
I've only heard it thrown around a few times. That's a problem. Anyways,
That's a new term for the new generation. Hashtag everybody under 20.
But why is it called a mandal?
I don't know. That's what I was just asking. Why do people call it a mandal?
I would grammatically,
Man sandal?
That's what I thought.
but that implies that sandals are not for men.
Like that doesn't make any sense. I mean,
A merce, man purse,
I actually
originally
haven't heard
termed.
of verse before.
Yes, I've heard of merce.
it's a bag. It's a purse.
It's a satchel.
It is a
I've heard satchel before. Definitely satchel.
Indiana Jones carried a satchel, not a man purse or a man bag.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to give it to Satchel on that one.
Hashtag satchel. Is your satchel game strong?
I think.
Do you wear sandals?
You got the jandals. You got the mandals.
The mandals. But yeah, I think it really just does come down to, what type of person you are, what your style is for outfits. So,
By the way, I'm just throwing this out there. When it comes down to like some of the females that wear Uggs all the time, I'm not knocking you, but please understand that those are very warm shoes. So you take off your little Uggs and your feet smelling, that means that you might need to wear some side shoes out there going out. Or at least put some baby powder in there.
Sneaker balls.
Help a brother out.
Might have to put them jokers outside, let them air out. A little newspaper, a little odor eaters. Women, y'all feet sweat and they smell bad too.
It happens.
Just saying. Yeah, man, but I think socks are fun, lighthearted, and it's something everybody can relate to. and it's a cool part of your ensemble that allows you to personalize it, give it your own sense of flair. You know, you can jazz up your outfit or dress it down. It's not just this menial part of the attire we don't pay much attention to, and it's fun and it's expressive. And if you don't like socks, I don't know what to tell you, man.
I mean, on top of that, I used to wear some socks that had, or I still do. I got some Batman socks. I got some taco socks. I have some pizza socks. I have some fry socks. I like food. If you haven't understood.
I have socks with beer on them, and I don't even drink alcohol. But they're cool looking socks, and they go well with my taco shirt. So, I dig it.
All right, last thing. I heard this on a radio talk show the other day. Do you wear socks to bed? Is it weird, or is it not? Is it gross or?
So normally I don't. I have to be extremely, extremely tired, which means I fell asleep fully clothed, or I just have to be extremely cold. But 98% of the time, I do not wear socks to sleep. If my feet are hot, I can't sleep.
I don't either.
Now that's the thing is that I don't wear socks to bed. I am a very warm-bodied person. I've said this before. And if I wear socks to bed, I promise you, I'm gonna wake up in the middle of the night looking like I just went swimming in the pool and then jumped in bed. Like I am not about it.
Splash. Okay.
I'm gonna have to get some Jesus Walk 12s and
No, Mandos. You need Mandos.
No, man. I don't normally wear socks to sleep, and I don't think it's weird if you do. I just don't. I know people who do. A lot of women wear socks to sleep. It's comforting for them. It's more so psychological than physical. From what I've been told and what I've concluded over the different conversations I've had, but it's not weird, man. It's normal. For some people, it's there every day. It's not mine. Nasty? No. If you have been out and about all day in that particular pair of socks, and you get in the bed with those socks on, that's nasty. You should go shower and put on clean socks. But just wearing socks to sleep in it's not wrong. It's not bad.
I want to say this though. I'm a very big advocate for socks. Please understand when outfits need socks. If you're wearing shoes, please have on some socks.
With the exception of dress loafers, yeah, you don't wear socks with those. And if you wear actual sandals with socks, and you're not in traditional Asian garb, or you're not Muslim, then that looks a little strange.
You're a dad.
No, because I've seen moms wear socks with sandals. Still looks weird.
Sitting at the grill, about to burn every single piece of chicken on that dang grill.
And you wear just socks with the Grill Master 2000s. They come in black and brown. Alright guys, so this is going to wrap up today's episode of the Black Shot Podcast. We covered some good topics today. What attracts people to giving music, how has COVID affected your lifestyle, and what is your favorite style of socks and why. It's been a good conversation.
Please let us know what you think as well. You know, I really do like to hear all the different sides of things, so please always pass that down. I'd always be great to hear what you think.
Yep. I'm your host, Young Tuna Man. It's the Black Shot Podcast. What up, though?
I'm at your neck, son.